Hello, welcome back to my channel. So I know I just saw y'all in the intro video. I'm glad y'all stuck around, glad y'all came back. You know what I mean? Came back, know what I'm talking about? So this video is kind of just jumping into a little bit of my story, my situation, and one of those things that are very significant to me. How God blessed me to tear my ACL. You want to see? Hold on. Y'all see my scar? You see the scar? That's right there. Ooh, that came from tearing my ACL. So, let's see. When did my story start? Okay, I'm a little tall. Imagine like a frog. Like I have a short torso and like really long legs. So I never had no good knees. All that dip and South Dallas swag and nah, was never me. I couldn't dip at 9, at 8. I couldn't do none of that. But as I started playing volleyball, you know, tall, front row, it was just a lot of jumping and everything kind of took a toll on me. And so around 9th grade, I started to, I think, what was that? My 9th grade year was like 2015, something like that. I started to notice issues like with my knees. I started to develop tendonitis and I started going to the trainer. So of course, tendonitis, or some people call it jumper's knee or whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna put the definition for it in here because I kind of forgot. But anyway, that's what I had. So with tendonitis and everything, you know, I had to like ice before practice, ice after practice, and get heat before. Really, it's not a big treatment for it. It's just a bunch of stretches. But I was stretching for 4 years and my tendonitis never left. So yeah, but anyway, that started 9th grade. 10th grade, I still had it, and then when I got to my junior year, I was still good. I still had tendonitis, you know, but I was still, I was still okay, you know, I wasn't bad. But going into my 12th grade year, this is where all the juice happened. This is where all the pop, pop, crack, crack, split, split, tear. Okay. So I was playing club volleyball. If you don't know what club volleyball is, it's a season outside of the school season that normally we play. Like volleyball players, not just volleyball players, but athletes in general. We will play for a separate team outside of school. So during the years that was leading up to my 12th grade year, I started to practice like every day, like Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday I'll play like pickup games. When I trained, I would train outside, no air conditioning, we in the heat, like for sometimes I would stay in the gym for 6 hours, 4 hours, sometimes longer than that, like trying to, you know, get everything going. And so I thought I was good, you know, but I didn't realize that in the time I was like neglecting God, so to speak. I wasn't giving him no time. It was all like volleyball. Like volleyball really was my life to the T. This is what I did. This is what I dreamt about. This is what I woke up doing. This is what I went to sleep doing. I was watching games in the middle of the day, all that stuff. So fast forwarding back to my senior year, like before. My senior year. I'm sorry, it wasn't even my senior year. I'm kind of fast forwarding back to my junior year. So it's off season of my junior year, and it's time for me to play club volleyball. So we played the first tournament in club, but everybody knows, you know, you still have off season for school. So you play club volleyball while you're still in school off season. So I was exercising. We played the first tournament for club, and then I went back to school and we were exercising for off season, and my coach had told me to do like these combinations of hits. And so I was doing the combinations, and I kind of stepped to the side, and my knee was like, I don't know, like it just, I don't know. And so I went down because I was like, hold on, you know, what was that? So then I tried to get up real fast, like, nah, that didn't even hurt. And then like once I like hopped up real quick, and then I was like, nah, lay back down, bro. Lay back down. So my coach came over there, and then she was kind of like, what's wrong, you know? And I told her it was my knee. Ended up going to the doctor, got x-rays and all that. They was like, oh, you're fine. So I went to the trainer, and the trainer was like, because I was hurting like on the outside of my knee. And so the trainer was like, well, I think it's your LCL. So we're just going to rehab that. So I was like, okay, cool. So I don't know if I got like mixed up in all the kids or all the people that he had, but after that injury, a week later, I was back jumping. And that's where the second pop came in. And I don't know if he thought it was longer. Like I said, if some things got mixed up, because I didn't know anything about knees. So I was bragging like, who come back from a knee injury in a week? Me? That's who come back in a week? No, sis. Try a year. So, yeah, a week had went by, and then he was like, I think you can like jump a little bit now. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I went back to practice. I was excited, but I was still a little nervous. So we did this little exercise, and I kind of like did my little approach to the net. I'll show y'all what that looked like. But yeah, I did my little approach to the net. And when I tell y'all I barely got off the ground, like it wasn't even no big jump. Like I wasn't even like, it was like, you know, a little hop, a little skippy skip. And I got up off the floor like this much. My knee sounded like a bowl of Rice Krispies. Like it was like, but it was like one big loud pop and then a bunch of small ones. It was literally snap, crackle, pop, literally. So normally when you tear your ACL, that's the biggest sound. Like it's a loud pop that you can hear like throughout the gym. So I was like crying because that scared me, and then crying because it hurt a little bit. Not a whole lot, but I was mostly like frightened, I guess. It wasn't like excruciating pain. I wasn't like rolling on the floor. I was just really scared. So my coach came over there and they kind of helped me up and everything. Y'all, I don't know why I didn't go back to the doctor. I do not know like why I didn't go back to the doctor, but I didn't go. I just went back to the trainer, and the trainer was like, oh, you probably undid all the progress we did, so we're going to redo it. So I kept rehabbing, kept doing all this stuff, and I rehabbed for a while. Then it started feeling stronger. I was like, okay, maybe he was right. So I was, back like jumping on boxes. Of course, he was telling me land on 2 feet, all of that good stuff. So I was back jumping on and off stuff. And so one particular day, he was like, okay, I think you can go into jump training, like, and let's see. So I was like, okay, cool. So I went to jump training, and I'm doing everything, like jumping on and off boxes. I'm jumping through the ladders. I'm jumping into this like the soft thing and jumping up to touch the backboard of the basketball goal, landing, all that stuff, and I'm good. So I'm like, period. Because by this time, 3 months had went by, and I still hadn't came back, and I was feeling bad for my club team because I kept saying, I'm coming back. I never came back. But when I got to this one particular station, it was these resistance bands. If you do jump training sometimes, or even if you work out, you may know what I'm talking about. But it's like you put a band around your shoulders, and it's like resistance all right here. It comes down, and then you strap it around your ankles. And so it's like it pulls you into a squat position. So the goal is to like jump up and flex, like, like jump out straight and then come back. Okay, but the resistance is kind of pulling you from jumping up. But anyway, whatever. So I was doing that. And the first, I think 2 jumps, I was cool. The second one, I don't know if I got relaxed or like the muscle in my knee kind of gave, but it pulled my leg before I came down. So I felt like if my kneecap and stuff is right here, I felt it go like, doom, doom. And I was like, so by then, I'm just like, I'm over. Amputate. Yep, it's gone. Like, my knee is gone, bro. I made my knee fall off. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I just took my equipment off, and then I threw it. I also felt bad because my coach was frustrated. I was going to my school coach was frustrated. I love her so much. Oh my God. But my school coach was frustrated, and I could just see it. And I felt bad for that too, because I was like, dang, like, what did I do? So I ended up finally going to the doctor, and I got MRIs and all of this stuff. And y'all, my ACL was shredded, like nowhere near connected at all. Like by the time I had my surgery, my ACL had rounded off. Like it started to just heal itself and draw up. Like, nah, sis, we just gonna leave, because that sound bad, because it had been torn for so long. It wasn't even frayed like a mop no more. Like if like you ripped some tissue or something apart, it wasn't even like that no more. It was like ball, like my like round, like my elbow. Like, sis, we just gonna heal ourselves and leave. Don't even worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it, because we just gonna dip. It's all right. You don't need us. But that's what it was. So I had my surgery and everything. I still have like some clicking in my knee because I have a lot of cartilage damage, and I had like a screw put in my knee. But during this process, it was like, what do I do? Because I physically couldn't walk. I had to go to PT to learn to walk up the stairs, all of that stuff again. And it was definitely like a very trying time. But even after I tore my ACL, I still didn't get the bigger picture. I still didn't get why I went through that. I didn't even ask. I was just like, oh, it's just a setback. It's just the enemy. But you know what? I'm coming back harder. Like PT 5 times a day stuff. Like all day I'm working out. And when I get home, I'm doing my workouts and all of that stuff. And I ended up coming back in 5 months. So it was still good. So my mindset really hadn't changed then. But then it got to a point where I would try to do like the 7 days a week like I did before, and God was like, no. And I was like, what? Like, no. I felt bad because this is what I do. Like, and so I feel like, no, I've been giving 7 days a week, 7 days a week to my team. Why can't I keep doing that? Like, I've been giving 7 days a week to my crafts. Why can't I keep doing that? I didn't understand why I couldn't do that anymore. And God was like, Kiara, no, sit down. And so it got to a point where I could still work out, but I couldn't put all my time and energy into it like I did before. And like I said, it was frustrating because I didn't understand it. And when he began to explain to me, he was like, Kiara, this is not your life. It's not, like, at all. This is not your life. Okay, I've called you to do so much more. I have called you to focus on other things. You cannot continue to be one-track minded. And so before, I looked at tearing my ACL as an attack. But then I started to look at it as like a blessing. Like that was God's way of sitting me down. God had to take my leg to sit me down. So in that time where I was recovering from tearing my ACL and all of that stuff, I ended up starting to go to this Bible study. And y'all, when I tell you the community and the leadership literally shifted my life and gave me a whole new perspective. And I was like, if I wouldn't have torn my ACL, I wouldn't have sat down. I wouldn't have even sat down to think about Bible study or anything like that. And it got so crucial to the point where the Bible study was like 45 to 50 minutes away from where my club practice was. And now, since I could start back club practice, I would leave and drive all the way back to the Bible study and only make it for the benediction. But that's how hungry I was. I didn't care. I'll make it for that benediction because I need to hear that prayer. And I did that for months until the schedule changed and it lit up and then club season was over and all of that. But it got that serious and I was like, wow, this is what I've been missing. And it's so much better when you can just spend time with God, when you know that you and God is always there. But to actively draw closer to him is just so amazing. And so, I don't know, y'all, but tearing my ACL was so much of a blessing. Like, I couldn't have asked for anything else. And if I could redo it, tear it. Tear it, please. Because the community I gained, the sisters I gained, okay, the leadership, everything, all that in between, the good, the bad, the ugly, it all built character. Like, it all built relationships. Like, we had to fight for our relationships because once you get around godly community, the devil is going to fight you because he does not like that. He does not like that. He does not like that you are building yourself. He does not like the edification. He doesn't like the strength, okay? He don't like that. He don't want you to be doing none of that. He don't want you to know your name. He wants you to call yourself ugly. He wants you to call yourself fat. That was me calling myself ugly all the time, okay? There was a time where I would not come on camera without no eyelashes on. There was a time where, it's just certain stuff. Don't get me wrong, you look presentable. But when you feel like you you can't go nowhere, I can't step out the door. No, ma'am. No, sir. No, sir. Like, no, this is stuff that the enemy doesn't want you to believe. And this is all stuff that I began to figure out once I sat my butt down. It is okay to sit down. Focus. Look at what's in front of you. No job, no sports, no career, no hobby, no activity, anything that you do. None of that is more important than God. None of that is more important than your soul, than your relationship with God. And all that purging, it hurt. It hurt. It's not cute. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. But It's something that you have to go through. So I guess purging and all of that is just, and what that looked like for me, that will be in another video sometime. You know, I'll talk about that as I get clearance to release that. But just for right now, you know, that is the basics, okay, the most important stuff of my story when it came to tearing my ACL. God gave me the grace to tear my ACL. Because if I had kept going, there would have been some situations and some battles that I wouldn't have knew how to fight. That I wouldn't have knew how to fight if I hadn't sat down and got training and got that community. I would have been on the court and just as sad, on the court just as depressed, on the court using volleyball as my only outlet. That's another thing. Sports, it's okay to have an outlet for sports, but when you can't verbally communicate because you're looking for practice, when you can't verbally communicate because you're channeling all your energy through a ball, through a football, through a tennis racket, through running track, that's the issue. Because when track leaves, how are you going to express yourself to people? How are you going to express yourself to a spouse if you get married? How are you going to express yourself to your parents? Okay, it's okay to use that as one of your outlets, but your sports, your activity, your hobby should never be the only way you can communicate. Use your words. Figure out how to use your words. That was me. I've just been so mad today. I'm gonna just go hit a ball and I'm gonna be fine. And couldn't talk my way out of a paper bag. But it's so much different now. You learn so much stuff. And I'm sorry, y'all. I will go on and on. So I'm gonna just cut it off right now. So I hope this touched somebody, you know. And I hope y'all can just accept me reaching out to y'all. And yeah, I hope something grabbed your attention. And I just love y'all. And I want y'all to succeed and win and prosper and all that good stuff. So thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you thought about the video. Tell me what you thought about my storytelling. Because sometimes it be a little off. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. And I will see y'all next time.